Welcome back to Beauty Gains, episode 17, with our special co-host, Coach Rurik Ruby Red Slippers.
Hello, friends and family.
Today, you will not be hearing our co-host, Curly's voice. She's taking care of a few things, which is also why we haven't recorded one, but between me and her, she decided it was okay for us to involve Ruby over here as our stand-in co-host while she's taking care of some things at home. Miss you, girls. That's what I'm wearing my Glow Me crew.
I'm going to do the best job at trying to compare to Courtney on this podcast. If anyone could compare to her, it might be me.
I think you've got it. And at the end, Ruby Red Slippers will be giving his beauty tip.
My beauty tip.
Yes. He might take care of himself better than I do. So he might be the better stand-in for right now. So today we are going to divulge into a topic that people have been sending in about. And Valentine's Day had just passed. I'm sure some of you spent it alone, with friends, with a significant other, with somebody that you care about. But either way, we're going to dive into love, dating, intimacy, all of those hopefully good feeling things that might not feel great all the time because we decide to put ourselves in the wrong situations. So that's what's also cool about today is we're going to have the male and female perspective on things.
I'm hardly a male.
I
Definitely
know.
more
that's like
feminine than masculine.
That's like
for
me
sure.
going on the Man Card podcast for the female.
Hardly
outlook.
a female. I want to start by saying I love love.
Okay.
Love is fucking awesome.
Okay.
Scary as shit. Fucking awesome.
So that was going to be one of my first questions to you is, obviously, do you believe in love? And so that's yes. And
absolutely.
There are so many definitions of love and levels of love and type of love. And that's kind of what we're going to get into is the fact that love isn't just a one-dimensional thing. There's not one definition to it. Your definition of love might be something different than somebody else's. And that's where wires kind of get crossed, I feel like, when people are trying to form a relationship or fall in love with each other, is that people just have different definitions of love. When I looked it up, because I like to look up definitions before we start talking about things, if you go online and look up love in like dictionary.com or anything like that, there's like 20 different definitions because it's all from your perspective. It's all how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your definition of love?
So when I think of love, right, there's, like you're saying, there's a few definitions. There's so many things that come to mind because you can love your mother different than the way you love your father, different than the way you love your best friend, different than the way you love your significant other. And it doesn't mean that one love is stronger or carries more significance than the other. I know one thing that I do with both people in this room right now, you and Brandon, one thing I do with Chris, one thing I do with my best friends, Jared, Steve, Joe, and you all know who you are. My mother, my father, my sister, mm-hmm. When I say goodbye to them, when I'm texting them in a conversation, I'll say I love you. And obviously that love between each person carries weight completely differently.
Right.
But I never want to feel like I don't want someone to know how much I care about them or appreciate what they've done for me or appreciate our relationship.
Right.
So I will always, when I leave somebody, tell them that I love them if I truly do love them.
Right.
I find that to be so important. And we do it jokingly. Sometimes I'll walk up to Brandon, I'll kiss him on his head on the gym floor, or like I said, text a friend of mine or a family member of mine, tell them I love them. But I find that so important because you never know when the next time you'll see somebody is.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean to sound morbid with that. Someone could go away on vacation. They could get sick. You might not see someone for 2 or 3 months. But that text could mean a lot. It's showing your appreciation, and care for somebody. And there's so many different aspects of love. That's why I say I love love, because it's so different. Yeah. It varies amongst people so much. It varies amongst your relationships so much. But to answer that first part of the question, yeah, hell yeah, I believe in love.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Love is, what does Geyer always say to us in our group chat now? Love is love.
Love is love.
Love is love.
And my thing is, I love love.
I love love.
So we're debating on a No Windy Sleeves shirt, what would be better? I love you all, love is love, or I love love. I voted I love love because I love love.
Because that's yours. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd go with Kyra's love is love because it is what it is. It doesn't matter. I know you always get mad at me because I never agree with your things, but I still love you because love is love.
I love you because love is, what is my thing? How did I forget already?
Yeah, exactly.
I love love. I love love.
No. Okay. So what I've been coming across is, again, everyone has a different definition of love. Love means different things to people. And I know that that's where a lot of communication comes from in a relationship is you tell somebody you love them. And sometimes people think that they need to hold back from saying it. You know what I mean? Like, you really, really like somebody, you appreciate them. I think people mistaken the fact of you don't need to be in a long-term relationship, 3-4 years. And some people are like that. They don't want to tell somebody that they love them. They really care about them. And I think that people have put love into this, just like everything else. Society has made saying love or love in general like a vulnerable thing that like you have to reserve it for one person. You can only love one person in your life. And I think that's bullshit. Mm-hmm. I think everybody has a different role in your life. They bring different things to the table. They make you happy, they make you sad, but at the end of the day, love is love. They keep saying it.
I love love.
But no, I think that people try to hold it back a lot because they don't know what their definition of love is, or they think that they have that one day something's going to click and in your head, it's just going to be like this love meter that just like explodes and you're like, no, I do love them. I think that it's okay to love multiple people in your life. And I think there's also a difference because I do know that there's a lot of women I see who will post on Instagram that they'll have a boyfriend for like 3 months and they're like, oh, I love them. This is the love of my life. And then they break up within a month. And then within the next month, they're dating somebody else. And, oh, this is the love of my life. I think that people also confuse just happiness with being in love with somebody and maybe just holding on too tightly to things. Because on the other side of love is, I think people fall into the fact of, oh, I love them. I'm never going to leave them, because if you love somebody, you never leave. But I think that's a misconception as well, is that like, yes, love is such a powerful thing. It's the most amazing feeling you can ever have. And when it gets taken from you, it's devastating. But I think that people also use it as an excuse as to why they stay in an unhealthy relationship. Oh, I love this person. I've been with them for 4 years. Just because you've been with somebody for 4 years and maybe you love them, you can fall out of love. Do you think that you can fall out of love?
Do I? Absolutely.
Yes.
So I believe that obviously love can grow and be cultured as time continues, but I also believe that there are different stages of love, and love can vary dependent on your life situation, right? So, Jess, you and I fall in love, okay? I think this current state of love that we're in, maybe if we had met 3 years from now, 3 years ago, 10 years from now, that love would be a completely different type of love. I think given my current situation, life situation, and your life situation, we happen to meet and boom, we fall into love. The spousal relationship type of love, okay? But it's all dependent on current life circumstances, where I am financially, where I am with my work, where I am spiritually, if my shit is together, if my head is on right. And then again, where you are in life, right? And so many things have to work congruently, but it doesn't mean they have to be the same. It doesn't mean my values have to be the same as your values in order for us to fall in love in a spousal, again, relationship type of love. Love, I've said this 37 times, love, 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 love. love can grow and be cultured, as I stated, but it takes time, it takes work. And a question I wanted to ask you is, and it really depends on so many different circumstances, right? But in a relationship, spousal type of love, when do you know, or when do you think you know the time is right to open up, right? So there are varying opinions. The guy says it first. The girl says it first. It could be said during a very intimate moment. It could be said over dinner or while you're physical, right? I don't know. But when do you think that light bulb goes off and you really question whether you love this person or not? And when do you actually admit your love for that person?
So,
spousal relationship-wise.
Spousal relationship-wise.
I don't even know. Spousal? Is that a word? Brandon, can you look that up on Google? Tell if it's a word.
It makes sense. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about a spousal relationship. It's not a family member. It's not a friend. It's that kind of intimate love that
it's
we're
a word.
talking about.
I got the thumbs up.
Nice. Thanks, fact checker. He doesn't even care. He's just eating his food.
He's eating his white rice and salmon over there.
Salmon.
I love you, Brandon.
So for me, I think that love is a very, not like weird thing for me. As I've gotten older, I'm definitely more okay with my feelings and now it's a thing. I know in prior episode, I had spoken about when my ex-boyfriend was murdered. And up until that point, I was very emotions to myself. I never told anybody that I loved them. I didn't care to tell people that, like, if they meant something to me. I was always kind of more rough around the edges. Once he died, I can't not tell people how I feel about them. So for me, and everybody's different. And again, it's all from your life circumstances. What have you been through before? What feelings have you already been through? What traumas have you been through that makes you the way that you are? So for me, once that happened, and now I can't tell him it anymore. I never want somebody to, even if we part our ways and they go somewhere else and I never speak to them again, I always have to leave, or I have to make people know and be aware of how I feel for them, about them, what I think about them, anything like that. So for me, that's a very, not like an anxiety driven thing. It's not like I tell every single person that I ever date now that I love them, because I don't. I've had ex-boyfriends that I've never told I love them, but that's why I leave. And if somebody admits to me that they love me and I can't say it back, I'm never that person that says it back just to make them feel good about themselves. And I find that happens a lot, is like people like somebody or they enjoy somebody, and then one person takes it to the next level and they admit it, and then the other person just doesn't want to hurt their feelings, so they just tell the other person that they love them too, because they don't want to separate from them yet, but they don't know if they're in love with them yet, which is fine, but you shouldn't admit to somebody that you love them if you actually don't. But that also comes into when are you ready to tell somebody? For me, like I just said, when I love somebody, I have to tell them. That's just it. And now it's hard for me to be like that. I had an ex-boyfriend who was not like a very emotional person. We didn't really talk about feelings a lot, and like how unemotional I am, he was even more so. And we were together for however long, never said anything to me, never admitted anything to me. And it took this massive blow up fight for him to come up with, oh, well, I've been wanting to tell you that I love you. Now, when I hear that, I'm like, okay, you're either bullshitting now, because like now you could say it with,
you want this fight to end.
Yeah. And then it's like, but if you have been thinking that for like 3 years now, and you never said it to me, I'm like, that's fucked up. I've been trying to get you to tell that to me for so long. So for people listening, like if you love somebody and you're holding it back because, one, you're nervous that person doesn't love you back, or two, you're nervous that's if you're bringing up that level and that means that person's going to get freaked out and walk away, like you should always be honest with your feelings, because at the end of the day, the worst that's going to happen is, well, the best that's going to happen is that person reciprocates and you guys are on this new level and syncing, and that comes with communication again, is people being okay with being open with how they feel, whether it's negative emotions, positive emotions, something constructive that needs to happen. You need to be able to speak your mind and be open who you're with. And if you're anxious or nervous about admitting your feelings to the person, that person's obviously sending out vibes that are making you uncomfortable. And that is showing you that that person either needs to open up more, or that maybe you're just not on the same page. Being on the same page and communication to me is the number one thing that needs to be had in order for you to be in a healthy relationship, in order for you to continue to grow.
Communication is key. Communication is more important than loyalty. Communication is more important than trust. Communication is more important than any aspect or foundational piece or component of relationship, because communication will breed loyalty. Communication will breed trust. Communication will breed anything else in a relationship that it takes for a relationship to thrive. Mm-hmm. I've said that so many times in relationships. In as a personal trainer, it's personal first. I always say that. Yeah. People always ask you for advice. No matter how old, how young, they will always ask you for advice. They always want to be personal, and that's a question that does get asked. I don't want to say fairly often, but I've been asked before by multiple clients. Communication is so important in anything, not just a spousal relationship, right? In a working relationship, yeah. In solely a physical relation, in anything. Yeah. Communication will breed any foundational component of any relationship on fucking planet Earth, because it is so implemental and important for communication to exist.
Why do you think that people hold back from expressing their emotions to somebody else?
In my opinion, the term ego is commonly misconstrued. People tend to look at the term ego as a negative thing. We all have an ego and we all need an ego. But I think ego is one of them. Ego will disallow you to confront your emotions or your feelings because, one, your ego doesn't want you to get hurt. Two, your ego may not be prepared to accept the truth or hear the truth. So, yes.
So, yes.
So, yes. I believe it's solely ego that is the problem in that situation.
Okay.
And again, ego isn't a negative thing. Ego is needed. If I am going to stand on stage and talk to 50,000 people, mm-hmm. my ego better be ramped the fuck up, because I've got to bring some energy. But if I'm in a room, I'm getting off topic here, I'm sorry. If I'm in a room with 8 investors or 8 business men and women that are just exceed my level of expertise and professionalism and experience, my ego is going to be on fucking E, because I want to absorb all the information that's happening in this room.
Right.
I've got no place being in this room, so I will learn. I will sit back. I have no ego. I will learn. Sorry for getting off topic, but
that's okay.
Ego. Do not let your ego distract you from wanting to say the right thing or from misconstruing words that people tell you.
What do you think about, now we're kind of moving away from just love and moving more into the actual relationship and dating piece. And now I just forgot the question that I had in my head because I wanted to do that leeway for whatever reason.
We have a bevy of questions I'm sure we could ask one another.
So nice. What do you think, like, there's always that, we're just talking about, when do you say that you love someone? When do you have like the green light in your mind for it? What do you think about what I had said before, people staying with somebody because in their mind, I love this person, I want to be with them? I always battle with, when is it to fight for and when is it to leave? If you do love someone and accept the fact that, like, you're going to have fights, you're going to have disagreements, what is that deciding factor for you of when to hold on and when to leave?
The easy answer is saying what we just spoke about.
Your ego?
A few minutes ago. Sure, you can kind of tie ego into that, but I won't. Communication, okay. Right? Okay. So it's openness, okay? In order to think or actually believe that your relationship, no matter with who it is, will be perfect and that there will never be obstacles, is asinine. It's not going to happen. And I would even make the argument that each fight or argument will make your relationship significantly stronger. So, not that you should look to pick at to pick for fights and arguments and be mad at this and be mad at that, but there's definitely reasons why arguments need to happen in a relationship, because most of the time arguments will allow both parties to communicate with one another. Maybe it shouldn't be that way, where your argument blows up into this whole took you 3 years to tell me you love me, right? You should not bottle something up for 3 years if that is the case. But why communication is so important, or arguing is very important, is because it allows, most of the time, the heat of the moment to allow the truth to arise, okay? And if you don't have an ego, and you could accept that truth that you're hearing from the other person, then you could work through it and communicate what your problems are with one another. I could use the example of ego and communication for everything, and it's not a cop-out answer in my opinion. It's because that's really like two foundational pieces of what I believe in, is that most fucking people, their ego is the issue. Most fucking people, they don't communicate. Not to mention that social media doesn't really help with.
Right.
It has caused for this arise of lack of communication amongst people. But those, for me, are two things that are just so important in any fucking relationship, is making sure that you check your ego, or you're understanding what's happening to your ego, or you're understanding why your body is responding to this problem this way. And then obviously two, communicating that you have this issue, communicating that you feel this way, communicating that you're not happy with your partner. Anything. It's communication and fucking ego.
Communication and fucking ego.
Not just ego. Fucking ego.
Your fucking ego is in your fucking way. Get your communication hat on. Go for it.
Now, to ask you a question, and this might be picking back and going back to the love component, right?
Yep.
The love question.
Yep.
Would you automatically disregard somebody telling you that they love you in an intimate or physical moment? For the first time. For the first time.
What does that mean? So them telling me that they love me for the first time during a
very physical and intimate driven moment.
You don't have to tiptoe around it. I said we could talk about intimacy. I just said don't get fucking...
Well, because it doesn't have to be in particular sexual intercourse, but
So are you asking me, like how I was saying before, that when somebody tells you they love you, you feel obligated to say it back even though you don't feel it? So you're asking me if somebody said to me for the first time that they loved me during an intimate moment, would I reciprocate it back?
Would you disregard it? Would you think of it as, you're just telling me you love me because we're having sex right now?
For the first time.
For the first time.
I don't think that I would disregard it as that I don't believe them. But I also think it's the fact that I've never just like, I don't know, like I feel like the people that I'm sleeping with or having those intimate moments with are people that I'm with. So it wouldn't be not like I'm saying, oh, it's not shocking that they would tell me that. It's just like throw my hair back. But no, I've definitely had moments where people will, and that's another thing that we could talk about after I answer, but people have definitely said like how much they care or things like that during those moments. And it's not that I disregard it and don't believe it or that I like don't answer back. I'm just not that person that during intimate moments like you're talking about, that's not like my mindset on it. So I'm not necessarily like, oh my God, thank you so much either. I kind of guess I don't disregard it. I guess that I would just continue doing what we were doing without, because I will never tell somebody I love them back if I don't. Like I had an ex-boyfriend that while we were like separating, he was like, oh, but I love you. And I was like, I can't say that back to you. And I don't think that I will ever be in love with you. And that's why we're breaking up, is because I know that you have this. And I know we're talking about like it could grow on you and maybe I could have loved him, but I for me, I don't think that ever could have. And that's why I left. I will never kind of string somebody along like that. I don't think that's fair. But no, I don't disregard it. I never think that somebody tells me they care about me or they love me during sex because we're having sex. Have you done that before?
It was purpose for.
Have you done that before?
Do you find it?
Wait, you're not answering me.
It was purpose for. Do you find it, I guess, more powerful if you were having a more intimate conversation and that finally came out instead of like?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was going to be
more impactful, more powerful.
Yeah. If you're just having a normal conversation, like me and you are sitting across from each other, or like we're on the couch or something like that, and we're having a conversation and somebody says it, I find that more meaningful than if you're being intimate and you say it. I don't know why. Everybody's different, but that's kind of where I was going to go prior to me answering was, do you think that sex and love are directly correlated, or do you think that intimacy and love are separate entities? Like, I know people that are like, I cannot have sex with somebody that I don't love. Or people are like, sex is this loving, intimate thing that you should only partake in when you feel that deeply about somebody. Like making love is what people like to describe it as.
I mean, there's most certainly a term lust.
Yeah.
It is incredibly naive not to admit that sex is so much better when you're in love.
Right.
But the term lust does exist, and there are lustful relationships, and there could be phenomenal sex with somebody that you're not in love with. And that sex can be better than it is with somebody that you are in love with.
How important do you think intimacy and sex in a relationship is?
The reason, and every guy is going to fucking shit on me right now, not to categorize or stereotype men, but I will definitely get joked at when a few guys at this gym hear this.
We'll see what Brandon's reaction
Sex is not that important in a relationship because one reason, it can be taught.
What does that mean?
You can teach your partner, or you can learn with your partner how to have sex better, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I will retract my former statement. Sex is very important in a relationship.
Okay.
Sex is very important.
Okay.
In the beginning of a relationship, it is not, because the two of you can learn and teach one another your preferences, what you enjoy, what you like, which is why it is something that can be taught. Like, they say you can't really, or I guess that term doesn't work. I was going to say you can't teach like mannerisms or kindness or anything. Okay. Like some people are just polite, but maybe you can because that goes more in line with your upbringing. Sex at the beginning of a relationship is not that important because the two of you can sit and discuss, ego aside, honey, let's figure out a way to, I don't want to say have sex different, right? Let's try this.
Okay.
Try this to me. Maybe this will feel better. Maybe if we do this, I'm not saying fucking bend over in this position.
What'd I say? Watch.
Sorry.
Easy.
I'm not saying to
I understand.
Communication
okay.
and ego.
Okay.
It could all tie back to those two things. If you communicate with your partner what you're feeling, what you like, what you enjoy, what you should try, and if you do not have the ego to not have that conversation, if you are able to have that conversation with your partner, that is why I say sex is not that important in the beginning of a relationship, because you could teach one another your preferences and what you enjoy.
Now, talking about that and talking about ego, why is it that men, when you suggest something, men take it offensively, or it gets into men's head, probably women's head as well? When you have those conversations, again, we're talking about ego and communication, when you decide to have those conversations with your significant other about preferences or about things that you like or things that will change the atmosphere, change the environment up, when that gets brought up, and then it almost turns awkward because now the person is trying super hard to do what you want, and maybe they're not doing it, and then it's like, oh no, do like this or this, and then they're like, I'm not doing it right, then they're just done. Like the whole like, nope, can't do it.
There is this little thing that men have that.
Is it called an ego?
No. Well, I'll tell you why it causes men to be ego driven.
Okay.
There's this little thing that men have in higher doses than women, and it's called testosterone.
Wow.
Right? Yes.
What is that?
And because of said testosterone, a lot of men, not most men, a lot of men, especially when it comes to sexual intimacy and preferences, wholeheartedly believe that they are the best at what they do, and what they do is right. And that any woman, no matter...
would be so lucky to have them.
To have their particular testosterone better than the other man. Okay?
I just had a terrible image.
But... So, you get offended because... And I'll speak for myself here in my past.
Sure.
You get offended because you are so convinced that you are what's best for this woman right now, sexually. Who I can do it better than anyone. I could do you better than anyone can do you. So you tend to have this, oh, wait, so she wants to try something different? Oh, wait, that means she didn't like what I was doing. Well, fuck her then, or ego, damaged, broken, because I thought I was the best at doing this.
So how do you think that women can relay to their partner what they want without it turning into this like one offensive, like super insecure thing? Now they can't perform at all because it's fucking too much in their head, or them trying what they asked for intentionally and too much to the point where they're like, is that right? Do you like that? Is this what you're talking about? Is this what you wanted during?
Well, I will say to every single woman, if it is not enjoyable for you or intimate enough for you, do not lie and say, well, honey, I like it, but let's try this. No. I understand there will be kind of blurred lines, and that's a very, very difficult conversation to have with your significant other or just someone you're having casual sex with. It's a very difficult conversation to have, right? I don't know why you'd have casual sex with someone that you don't enjoy, but...
Correct.
Anyway. For the women out there, I would say... If that were the case and you wanted to try something new or something different,
Rue, I know it seems like there's a lot of silence right now. Rue's trying to come up with the best advice he can give you.
Because I want to make sure that this advice is actually used. Like I want to help. If I can help one woman in their relationship, I fucking pat myself on the back.
Okay.
Propose the idea of trying something new. I think that's basically what you asked me, but I believe that is the only way to breach the awkwardness and just have the conversation that something has to change, right? Without entirely damaging your boyfriend, your husband, your girlfriend, whatever, their ego, and making it awkward for when you're finally physical and he's like, well, is it that, babe? Is it this, babe? Just say you want to try something different. Just say you would like to experiment. That was a good question, Jess. You kind of got me stumped here.
I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize.
So while you can marinate in it for a little bit longer, and I'll speak.
Shout out to Glow Commando, marinade.
Ding, ding. So as you marinate on that thought, I will just kind of put in my own tips of this as to that's why me and Rue are both here right now. while we're talking about how women should go about asking, I will speak to the men right now on
what not to do.
Not even what not to do, on do not take it offensively.
Mm-hmm.
If you can just understand that people have different preferences. People are more open, people are more adventurous, people have different things. So for you to be open with your partner, again, sometimes I think people bring it on too early on because, again, like once you start getting older and you have preferences, you've had experiences that you've had prior that you liked, maybe you wanted to try something you haven't gotten to yet, maybe you read a book, maybe you saw an article, maybe your friend told you about something, and you're just like, oh, I would love to experience this with you. It's not us telling you that you suck and that we need you to change everything that you're doing. Because if we wanted you to change every single thing that you were doing, we just wouldn't be with you, pretty much. Unless the person literally does not care about sex at all. But then they wouldn't be bringing up to you if they didn't care about it. So don't take it offensively if a woman asks you to try something new or do it this way or do it that way. Because it's not us telling you that you suck and that you need to like take an entire course on it. Obviously, we enjoy our experiences with you thus far, but we would like to try other things. And you taking that offensively or you taking it over to the top to where if you find out that's what we like and now you only do that, it's super annoying because like we want you to enjoy yourself too. We both want to have a mutual enjoyable experience in what we're trying. So don't take it offensively. Just try it a few times. You'll know if we're enjoying it or not. You should know your partner. That's the other thing is don't be selfish. Don't only pay attention to how you feel. You should always be paying attention to your partner's reaction to what's happening in the moment.
I will most certainly say, and you could call my bluff or bullshit.
Okay.
I do not find pleasure in being pleasured.
No,
that's
you
not
like
the pleasure.
Pleasing the other person.
Yep. Because that is what makes you, as a man, that's what makes your ego go through the fucking roof.
Just your ego goes through the roof? Or is this imitating
something else? My arm is straight, stiff in the air. If you're not watching listening on YouTube and you're only listening, my arm is stiff in the air. That is the pleasurable component of.
Why do you think that? Again, I think we can keep saying the same phrases over and over again during this podcast. Is why do you think that men just look to quote unquote, and I hate that I'm saying this out of my mouth right now,
bust a nut?
Yes. Thank you for saying it so I didn't have to. Why do they just want a quick, say the word,
nut?
Yes. Why do men search for that? What is enjoyable and fulfilling on that? Why like women? So a lot of things are like women are trying to date men and then they go on dates and they find that the man is only really interested in one thing. And that's to get their
rocks off.
What is that one?
You've never heard that before.
No. Okay. What is that about? Why is it such a need for a physical release rather than taking the time to actually you could do that on your own, right? Like you could do that in your room by yourself without the getting somebody attached to you, getting somebody to you have to be looking for something else. Again, Rue is thinking.
I think one is a component of get my body count up, right?
Why?
Ego.
Ego.
I fucked 127 chicks and you fucked 13. I win.
What was that?
So, I think that is probably first and foremost the reason why. Okay. Just for some men, that little check, got her. she is in the back pocket, right? 2, obviously, to chase the physical pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is like the ultimate, like, not only did I sleep with her, but I finished, blah, blah, blah. I would say one of those 2 reasons, right? If you're not prepared to be in a relationship or you have no intention on being in a relationship, it's just that checked mark, that checked box. Like, did it, got it, done.
Like a mission complete.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think nothing more. I'm a player. I slept with how many chicks? I did this. I think that's really it.
Mm-hmm. Now, the whole fact of, I guess women and men both believe this, but I think women do it more often than men do. When somebody will straight up tell them, or like the obvious like hints are there that the person is only looking for one thing, and then women decide, no, I can change their mind. Because I think I think men and women have different missions. So where you just said men have their mission of conquering every hot female, every interesting person, every girl that their friends want, mission complete. I think women in the other turn have the mission of, I'm going to change him. I'm going to make him fall in love with me. I'm going to be the exception. He might go out and fuck 200 girls, but I'm going to be the last one because I'm going to change his ways. How often do you think that actually successfully happens?
Successfully.
If 10 women thought that they could change one man.
Half point. I'm sorry, 0.5.
Oh, okay.
A fraction of.
Okay. I was like 5 out of 10. No. I was like, no way.
No. A fractional percent. Not even one. Not even 1 whole percent, which would be 0.1 out of 10.
Yeah.
Less than 1 out of 10. That's a very, very unlikely scenario. Can be done because everything's possible.
Right.
Very unlikely
there
scenario.
There are exceptions. That one movie.
Because you know what you want.
There's one movie that I loved. It's, what the fuck is it called? I almost said 10 Things I Hate About You, but that's not the movie. He's Just Not That Into You.
Mm-hmm.
Love that movie. So many different scenarios, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. So, leading from that, we were just talking about men and women having different missions, and obviously men check off their shallow missions way easier than women change the minds of men that are blatantly and sometimes tell you straight off the bat, I don't want a relationship. I'm not looking for a relationship. And women are like, ooh, this is going to be so much fun and I'm going to damage my self-esteem so much, but he's going to come around. And I think that we always blame it on the men that they hurt our feelings, but sometimes we just don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it's the game. It's the game.
I hate it's a game, and I hate that so many people like to play it as enjoyment because it's exhausting, and I hate it. I am not a game player.
And the typical game is, can I sleep with her?
Mm-hmm.
And can I change him?
Right.
Like you just stated.
Right.
That is the game. How long will it take me to sleep with her?
How long is it going to take me to change him?
How long can I change him?
Yeah. And the fucking miles will go in order to complete our mission.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, like men have the testosterone, we have our estrogen. We're looking for love and babies, and men are looking to spread their seed.
You said the word you said earlier is it's conquer.
Yeah.
It's instinctual amongst men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much accurate to what it actually is. It's a conquering.
Yeah.
And that's how most men see that.
So with that, let's talk about women shooting their shot. What is the best way for a woman to shoot their shot without coming off sexually? Because I know that there are a lot of women who are like, oh, if I want it, I'm going to go out for it, which awesome, fucking go for it. Some men love women who initiate things. But I feel like sometimes women do it in an aggressive way that already sets off a sexual tone. And that's what excites men, but does that actually keep men interested, or does it immediately turn into, do you think I could sleep with her tonight or tomorrow? How, like, literally texting your buddies.
The game has begun.
The game has begun. She messaged me some.
You want to play a game?
Oh my God. She messaged me some like innuendo, or like she came off aggressive. So usually aggressive women love like that kind of intimacy already. And then they're already in like their group chat be like, oh, look what this girl sent me. How long do you think it's going to take me to put this one down? And again, game on. So what are some tips or ways or even phrases that women can go about shooting their shot without causing this sexual game on atmosphere right off the bat?
So just more of a reminder for myself later, there are 2 pointers before my beauty tip. There are 2 tips that I wanted to give, one to men, one to women. And this is kind of going to segue into my tip for women.
Okay.
For a woman to shoot her shot, I would honestly say the first thing you can do is offer something. As a woman.
Meaning what?
Offer, would you like to go out to coffee? It is your stereotypical male asking woman for a date. I don't think it's any different. That's the best way, in my opinion, to go about it. What are you doing for lunch? Would you like to grab coffee this weekend? I know it's very unlikely for that scenario and situation to happen, but in my opinion, even for a guy, that is the best way to go about shooting your shot. Now, are you at a bar and you're drunk and the guy over there is cute and you want to kind of go over to him and give him your number? Like, oh my God, he's so cute. I need to have his number before I leave. I don't know if that's a thing that women go through, but I'm sure it is. Why wouldn't it be?
I don't know. I haven't been out in a bar in a year.
Yeah, technically. I literally a year.
Yeah.
In that case, I worked at a bar in Bloomfield. All right. Now, this is a different scenario because this girl was a regular at the bar. It was literally called the bar. She was a regular at the bar. Jess just sneezed. God bless you. God bless you.
I bet you didn't even hear it.
It was so cute. She was a regular at the bar. And by a regular, I mean I worked every Friday night. She was there every Friday night. So a bit different because I knew she was going to be there every week, right? If you're going to a bar in fucking Hoboken and you see this cute dude, you may never see him again, right? So you got to shoot your shot. But in this particular circumstance, one night, what she did is get a napkin, write her name and number on a piece of paper, hand it to me when she left. What I proceeded to do was, obviously you're going to sweat it out a little bit because game on, right? So in this kind of game, it's a little different. We're going to change the rules. Now, we're going to make her sweat a little bit, right? Because that might make her want me more. I'm not going to text her the next day. I'm going to wait 5 days.
Even though she's the one that gave you her number, so obviously she's interested in you.
Yes.
But you need...
Bingo. Because I already know. Okay. I already know that she's interested in me.
So you just want to hype it up more.
Yep. Make her sweat.
Okay.
Right? But retrace. Blah, 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 blah. You'll never know if you see this person again. You can use that same tactic. If you're not comfortable with approaching a man in a social setting and asking for his number or asking where he's from or where he goes to school or what's his job, or if you just want to have that initial conversation, write a little napkin on a piece of paper with your number and hand it to him. Slip it in his pocket. I know that's so like cliche and you could probably think, oh God, that's so lame.
Yeah.
But that's effective. I don't think a guy would necessarily take that as like, yep, she's trying to fuck me. Because then what you can do as the woman who put that napkin and your number in his pocket is not fuck him the first time you hang out with him, which was going to be my tip, as I stated earlier, for women. Again, as I said earlier, a lot of the guys are going to fucking punch me in the face when I say this. Women, please, for the love of God, do not put out the first night. Do not. Because again, this is a game and he has already won. Now, it is very telling on the kind of guy he is then if he fucks you, you have sex,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really hear from him again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a person you want to be with anyway.
Right.
But the plot may change if you don't fucking put out that first night. And what most men will do is try so hard to get the girl to put out in that first night.
Because of their ego.
Because their ego and
their mission.
that little T word, testosterone, that makes us.
The little T. Stop.
I stuck my arm straight out again.
That's what we were talking about when Nikki came on, and boundaries and respecting yourself and making men work for it is no, don't do that. I just had my hands out and we were trying to put his pointer finger and I said no. But we were talking about boundaries, and we're talking about how we tend to, especially nowadays, being so compared off of social medias and all these perfect looking women, and how can you possibly compete with everything that's out there? So you try to throw out all of your tricks to this guy all at once because you want his attention. So you're so willing to sleep with them because you think that that's going to make them like you more because you're giving them what they want, when really
it does the opposite. It literally does the complete opposite.
Right. It's the same thing as giving a guy, acting like you're their girlfriend without actually being their girlfriend. Why do they have to act any differently if you're giving them what they want already? They don't have to work for anything. They don't have to bring you around to their friends. They don't have to bring you out. Especially now in COVID, I feel like with dating apps and Instagram, that's the only way that people are meeting each other. And now you're like, oh, well, we can't really go anywhere. We can't really do anything. So why don't you just come over? And just coming over turns into, oh, we're watching a movie and cuddling, and everybody loves cuddling, but cuddling is still touching, and then it's still going to turn into something else if that's what the guy wants it to turn into. He's going to be all cute, or you're going to cuddle, and you're going to watch that movie that you wanted to watch. And then what else are you going to do? What else does he want to do? And if you are going on these dates where you're Netflix and chilling, and the guy, again, tries to make moves right off the bat on it, like, it's a telltale sign that that guy, one, can't sit there and have a conversation with you, and two, like, you're already kind of seeing where his head's at. Mm-hmm. So you just giving into it and being like, I really want him to like me, so why not? No, don't why not, because then it's going to turn into, why'd I do that? You didn't do that to yourself. You literally need to make them work for it. And again, it's not a game. It's what should happen. There's no courting anymore. There's no like getting to know somebody anymore. And it's sad.
Thank you for saying that word. I don't want to make this statement like it's 100% foolproof. Mm-hmm. A majority of animals court.
Yes, all those birds do all that fancy dancing.
They don't communicate via English language. Birds fucking chirp. I don't know if another bird knows what another fucking chirp means, but they have a courtship. They have to impress. Yeah. Typically, the male has to impress the female.
And she gets to choose.
What partner. It could be the partner with the biggest fucking wings, or the brightest colors, or the largest male of the group. Like, that's how animals court. We really are no fucking different.
We're animals. We just have very high functioning brains, and we do dumb shit. That's what it is. It's like animals, at least, just like, they're like, I'm going to survive and procreate and try to survive some more and try to keep alive. All of us have all this other shit that we're trying to do rather than just go about what our primal things are supposed to be. And every culture is different. Like, I know that there are some like tribal cultures that like, there is no one man and one woman. There's a woman and it's not everybody gets to sleep with her, but it's like they all take care of each other. That literally tribes. There are certain tribes that are like, everybody has kids with everybody, and everybody takes care of each other's kids and things like that. And everyone's culture is different. But in America, with all of this social media and dating apps and stuff like that, it's like the weirdest fucking time to be dating. And I think that's why people have shut off their emotions. People accept sex before actually getting to know somebody because we have, again, all these insecurities and egos that are trying to protect ourselves. But in turn of that, we're trying to harden ourselves so much. We're trying not to love each other. We're trying not to appreciate each other.
The way you just explained it makes me want to further tell women, right? You just said accept it, right? Don't, what you're doing when you're giving into that man, you're making sex transactional.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you're doing. And that kind of piggybacks off of the conversation we have earlier, right? Is sex better when you're in love? Don't make sex transactional. This isn't like, I have this, you have that. Let's make this transaction happen.
Yeah.
Put your penis inside
And
my fucking vagina. That shouldn't be a transactional thing.
And let's be honest, when it is it's fine. It's fine. When it is transactional like that, how much are you actually enjoying it? Like, no. I know for me, the actual act, like the physical, like take everything away. The physical act of it does nothing for you. Literally nothing. Absolutely nothing. Besides, like you said, add just another person that you've let enter into this intimate act with you, but it's not actually intimate. Mm-hmm. It's literally like you going into the gym and you doing a deadlift. It's the same thing. It's just an action.
That's a great way to think of it, Jess. What do you do in the gym, right? The first thing you do is you warm up. Ooh. Bingo. You warm up. You stretch. You get your body active. You get your blood flowing. The deadlift is done all within 10 to 15 minutes.
Right.
The first 20 minutes...
You warming it up?
Is warming it up. Right? Then you get into the compound movement. Oh. The compound movement.
Not everyone has compound movement. Sometimes it's just the deadlift or just the squat. But they still think they're highly impressive.
Mm-hmm. And that is why
that's it too. Men, and I guess we could do women, love to skip their warm-up. And they love to just throw on all the weight and do their impressive 3-second lift. Look how fucking strong I am.
That's about one more second than I can last.
Look at that fucking performance I just did in those 5 seconds. My warm-up, don't care about it. Look at that performance right there.
The most important...
Shorter than I almost said Snapchat story. Shorter than an Instagram story.
That would work too, a Snapchat story.
Same thing.
Listen, the most important thing in sex is everything leading up to the sex.
Yeah.
That is where the stimulation occurs. The back scratching, the back of the nails touching the sides of your obliques.
Ruby is getting into actual...
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
You told me not to. The warm up is always and will be more important than the act.
Yeah.
And will make the act 100-fold fucking better than it would be if there wasn't a warm up. Just like if you want to go into the gym and cold deadlift 500 pounds, probably won't happen. But if you warm up before, your performance will be better in that deadlift.
So I will also say, ladies, if you find yourself deciding, I'm going to have sex with this man, and you are all about the warm up to the gym, this is our loophole. This is how I'm going to talk about it. If how your experience gets to where it needs to be because you need a warm up, the act of sex or the act of the deadlift does nothing for you. Because some women, it does nothing for. Some women need the accessory, the warm up and the accessory work in order to finish. They do not need the lift, the impressive in your mind lift. Some women, majority of women, will not be able to finish that way.
Men, please listen to Jess.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Jess. Please listen to her.
So again, if you're so simple-minded and closed-minded on the fact that you are the most proficient deadlifter out there, you can lift all of the weight with the most perfect form, with such a fast pace that you are so impressive, you are wrong that that's the only thing you need. Again, some women can, but if they do, it will be amplified more with the accessory work. Stop your deadlift. Go over and do something else. Go back to your deadlift. That will make everything so much better. But on top of it, women, hi. If you find a man that you are going to sleep with, and it's your first time hanging out with them, and you don't know if you want to sleep with them or not because you don't know what their true intentions are, and you're not just looking for this one and done type deal, if the man goes to perform the deadlift before the warm-up or any accessory motion has happened, that's your time for you to move away and say, "Nerp." And then you can explain to them what needs to be done, one. Or two, you know that that man literally is just trying to get his quick
nut,
and he will be leaving shortly after. So again, if there is no warm-up involved, if there is no accessory work involved, and they are just going to go, you see... What?
Get his rocks off.
If he does not try to warm you up and he is just ready to go for that main lift, trying to just go right in, that's your time to move away. Because that is a sure sign that that man does not give a fuck about what you want, or in order to please you, he's just looking for that. And you can perfectly, and this is the thing. I feel like women think that when they're getting intimate with someone, like you're making out, you're like moving around, you're like in high school again, and everybody's dry humping and all this shit. So it's okay to do prefaced things and still not go all the way and have sex. I feel like women feel bad, and I think that this culture has started from way back when, of women not wanting to seem like, oh, well, you're a tease. Like, you did this, and this with me, so that obviously means we're going to have sex. No. If this man, again, does not seem like he cares about pleasing you as well, it is okay, no matter what level you've got to at this point, to still say no to the end game.
It is naive not to say that would be a very, or could be a very uncomfortable situation for a woman. Mm-hmm. As a man, you have to understand, you are about to enter a woman's body. Like, that's literally what you're going to do.
Yeah. She's
in fucking charge.
Yeah.
And here's a little test for women, because while you were saying that, I was thinking.
Okay.
If you want to know a man's real intention, and true intention, go ahead when you're ready. Mm-hmm. Prepare some intimacy, like fool around a little bit, mm-hmm. Start warming up.
Warm up.
And fucking cut it off.
Yeah.
You will know the true intentions of the man you were with, mm-hmm. the character of the man you were with, mm-hmm. with what his response is when that happens. Mm-hmm. And that could be your fucking game, right? That could be, that'll tell you all the answers. Right. If this man literally like belongs in fucking prison, and again, that could be a very uncomfortable situation, and I get that.
Right.
Which is why men have to do a much better job of respecting women in that manner.
Right.
But it would also tell you, if this man is comfortable with, like, okay.
No problem.
No problem.
I understand.
I get it. It's not my body that is about to be fucking entered, because exactly what's happening. Then you should know. There are outliers. There are manipulators, right?
Yeah.
You should know the true intention of that guy and the character of the person that you're with.
Right. And this is not Rue telling you to, if you don't want to partake in any intimacy, like, just do it so you know his intentions. Don't do that.
No.
If you don't
I'm sorry if that's how it was
I'm just
conveyed.
saying, like, if you are not comfortable, period, and somebody goes to make a move on you, you can literally say no every single time. And again, if that man responds awkwardly or offended by it, and can't continue the night because now his ego is hit and his mission has come to a halt,
run the fuck away.
Just leave. It is not worth you feeling bad about yourself, you feeling like you did something wrong, you feel like you led somebody on. This whole podcast just got into a very weird other space, but I think it's important for us to talk about because I think that
absolutely
women get stuck feeling obligated to, oh, I had a really great time with him. Oh, he really likes me. That's why he's trying to be this way.
It's a transaction.
Like we said, if you end up like going on dates with somebody and then you're not too sure, you're like, I think I want to, but I don't. If it's ever, I think I want to, but I don't at the same time, don't until you're fully ready. And if that man decides that he doesn't want you, then it just shows you where you were going to go. And again, it's no fault to the man. You know what I mean? Like, we get offended when we get rejected because maybe that's what he was looking for. And like you said, maybe that's just at the time of his life he's in. So if you go through with having sex with this man and then he doesn't want something with you, but you do, and then maybe you could have hit it off if you guys took the time, or if it was timing is everything. I feel like I've been with someone and like people who like timing was wrong for the parts of like our life we were in. But again, that's fine. That doesn't mean that you care any less about the person or anything like that. But if the question is, I don't know if I want to or I do want to, you should always go with I don't want to. And then if he sticks around and again puts in the work and
you might have your guy.
You might have your guy. But women, we need to stop giving the men what they want because we want them to like us. You should feel like you're in so much power of yourself and of your state of being and your overall wellness that like you don't need that man to want you.
It is your body. You are in control.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not just, again, if, what were you saying to me the other day? That a lot of, not just women, but a lot of men and women both will say like, I'm not looking for something. I'm not looking to a serious anything. And maybe they're not looking for something serious because they just got out of something serious and their headspace is not right. Listen to them, but at the same time, if you're that person saying that I'm not looking for anything and you're just pushing away other things because of it, I think you said it the other day, there's not one person out there that doesn't want to be loved. Love is love.
I love love.
I love love. And you could be as tainted and as like unemotional as you want, but everybody wants to feel loved.
Even the Grinch wanted to be fucking loved.
Literally. If people had like more love in their life, like everyone would be a little happier, but it's because we're trying to guard ourselves so fucking hard that like we're either not ourselves or we're trying to be impressive or we're trying to do what somebody else wants to do so we seem cool, or like all these things that we manipulate with ourselves instead of just being ourselves and going with what we want to do, or saying no, or making somebody work for it. Because nobody can, like you said, like taking the time to build these things up. Not sleeping with somebody in the first night, but you're like, oh, but I really like him and I think we're hitting it off and this or this. It's like, okay, but you'll still be hitting it off in a month, or you'll still be hitting it off in 6 dates later. And if you're not, then you didn't expose that part of yourself to somebody else. Yeah. Where did we even come from?
Technically, your mother and father.
Wow. Okay. You know what I was talking about.
So, earlier, I mentioned my tip to women. And now, briefly, I want to enter my tip to men, and I guess I still have a beauty tip at the end.
You do have a beauty tip.
I'm Courtney. I'm curly. I'm taking her place today. Did I sound like her?
I don't think so.
My tip to men, right? For the love of fucking God, if a girl likes your Instagram post, that doesn't mean she wants to fuck.
Also,
for Christ's sake, men.
Also, men, stop thinking that liking 50 pictures
in a row
so that you're literally the only person on that person's notification feed that is not shooting your shot. That is not you showing me that you're interested.
It's showing you that I might be a sociopath.
Literally. That is the last thing I'm looking for, is somebody to find my page and like 70 things in a row to show me that they were looking 2 years ago.
Now, I will say, if a woman likes your post, you can go ahead and shoot your fucking shot. Go ahead. That's what direct messages are for.
Right.
Like, by any means. But God, don't make it fucking creepy. And it doesn't mean she wants to sleep with you or fuck you because she liked your Instagram post.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. But by all means,
same advice to women.
You are empowered to go ahead, shoot a message, shoot your shot. Be fucking smart. I got a good one for you, right? Okay. How much does a polar bear weigh?
Oh my God, enough to break the ice.
Enough to break the ice.
Fucking Christ.
Boom. Men, there's
don't
your icebreaker.
No, don't do that.
I think that would work.
He goes, I think that would work.
I think it could work. Has it ever worked for me? No. But I think men could get varying amounts of success from that.
Yeah, you got your
Don't do like
what the
did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
You think the polar bear one was better than that?
That's what Chris Tuttle has done in his life.
Ooh. Wow.
That was a little aggressive. No one saw that. That was off camera. Jesus. How much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice.
Don't use that. But I will say that men, just try to be normal. I think that even on dating apps, I think we talked about this in a prior episode. Don't try to be so strange.
Be your fucking self. If you're a fool, I just got a bicep cramp. Spasm. I have to straighten my arm out. If you're a fucking fool, be a funny fool when you shoot your shot. Be yourself. And I know people overthink that. Just be. You know what your character and your personality is. If you're a goofy fucking person like I am, I'm not going to seriously walk up to a girl. Sure, I might maybe not do what I do to you behind the scenes, but like fucking Frankenstein. But I'm going to be a little goofy. I'm going to be a little silly, right? Because I want to convey my personality to the person in which I'm shooting my shot to. Mm-hmm. But if you are a fool, don't come across as this prim and proper and overly educated man who you want to walk up to the woman and puff your chest out and speak slowly and dude,
you're not going to be able to keep that front up anyway.
No, and nor do I think a lot of women would be attracted to that anyway. Yeah. But
I wanted to say, back when you were talking about how for women to shoot their shot, and you were saying would you like to grab a cup of coffee or something like that? Everything you said wasn't a nighttime thing. Everything you said was a daytime activity.
So for me, asking for dates, big brunch guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because not that I think it'll make it more possible to go on the date with the woman, but I want to have a conversation with you during the day. It is bright out. It is sunny out. It is the beginning of your day. The dinner thing is just a cop out. Let's go to dinner. Let's grab something to eat. No.
Right.
Because I want to fucking pick you apart a little bit when we're at brunch. Maybe having a mimosa or two.
Oh my God. And I think it's also a good tip, for women who are, trying to find a guy that's actually going to put in the work and time to take time out of his day in order to go there with you. But also, you're not nighttime. You're not, let's go back to my place.
And then you fall into that trap.
Yeah. There is very rare times where after a morning or afternoon date, people are going to be like, let's fuck at 2 p.m. You want to get a little afternoon delight in now? Yeah. No. But I think that's also a good, I think you indirectly.
That's a great.
I think you indirectly, I don't think you noticed that you were only saying daytime things, but I wanted to go back to that because I think that that's important for an idea as to trying not to have your dates be at nighttime where people are like, why don't you come back to my place? We'll hang out.
I don't know if this is a thing. It probably is because of the impact of social media that it has. Don't give someone your fucking Instagram handle.
Nothing drives me more insane when a guy approaches me and is like, do you have Snapchat or Instagram? Am I an asshole? Do I look like an asshole? Do I want a Snapchat from you? Why do you want a Snapchat? If somebody asks you for your fucking Snapchat, that is literally a person saying,
I want to send you a dick pic later.
I would like to speak to you and it disappear so that you can never show somebody what I'm saying to you or see it again.
Yeah.
And I don't have to reread what you said. I can open it and be like, oh, I totally forgot to read it. It just slipped out. And also for guys to send you pictures of themselves like, oh, look what I'm doing today. And for you to send a picture back. And then as it starts to fucking go on and it's nighttime, they're like, oh, just got out of the gym. Check me out. Look at this pump. And then they're like, oh, what are you doing? What are you wearing? Don't do the fucking Snapchat thing. That drives me more insane than not. And that's an immediate, I never want to speak to you, is when someone's like, do you have Snapchat? Fucking 30 years old. I do not want to talk to you on Snapchat.
I'm 27.
Maybe you still do the Snapchat.
No, I wanted the listeners to know that I'm significantly younger than you.
That's so nice. Thank you so much. I probably look younger though.
Yeah, definitely. I look like I'm fucking 503. 503.
Okay.
These bags under my eyes. Beauty tip, though.
Before we get to that, so how we were talking about, again, women shooting their shot. What about women shooting their shot on Instagram? How you said, like, to guys, hey, a girl doesn't necessarily want to fuck you just because they liked your post. Same thing for girls, just because a guy, unless he does that annoying thing where he likes 50 of your pictures to make sure that you see him, don't do it, guys. What do you think is a good tactic for women who are interested with somebody through Instagram, since that's a very big portal now? What is a good DM starter?
Realistically, that's what it would be, a DM. You're not going to comment on a post because that's public now, right? So you have your message is everyone can see it on your comment. It would be a DM, right?
If you're going to shoot your shot, shoot your shot. Yes. Don't do the reacting to the post thing. Don't do the liking every post they have. Don't do the commenting on something or like whatever. Straight up DM that has nothing to do with like a message reaction or a story reaction, unless you're going to actually come up with something. Comment
on that story.
Right. Don't just send a fire or a heart eyes. A heart eyes and a fire means nothing.
And this goes to men too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Men and women.
What I would do if I was trying to... No, you're saying what a woman... What
could a woman say to a man?
To me, we'll say.
To you.
What could a woman say to me that would, for me to be like, oh, she...
This is interesting. I would like to have a conversation with this woman.
I would say, again, I said something earlier to the effect of offer something when we were talking about a date. I think that's what I said, like offer something, offer coffee, offer brunch, whatever. I don't mean compliment and like, oh, wow, you look good. But a little comical reference would be nice. Like, if you're interested in him, you've most certainly looked at his profile. Let's be honest. Okay. If there was a post that I put up yesterday and you liked the fucking shirt that I was wearing. Hey, where'd you get that shirt from? Referencing something that you see in his post or in his story post, I would find like, I would appreciate that. Not only would I appreciate that, but I would ponder it and question it. And it wouldn't be something as direct like, hey, what's up? Because that's not really going to start a conversation. And it wouldn't be something like a heart eye emoji. Or
something that the person
I see your dick in your shorts.
What?
That won't work.
Okay.
Because that's but referencing something in the post that actually, Jess, that will actually
stimulate a conversation.
And there's something that you enjoy as a woman. Like, if you like my blue if I have a blue line shirt on and you like police officers, if I have a Black Lives Matter shirt on and you believe in the BLM movement, reference something in my post that you enjoy.
Right.
Because don't just say like, oh, I like your shirt and you have no idea what the fuck it is, but reference something that you enjoy seeing that's in that post, even if you have to wait a little bit.
I think that also...
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense, because that's the thing is people are like, oh, I really want to message this guy right now, so all I'm going to do is send this heart emoji because I have nothing else to say. It's like, no, just like wait. There will be an opportunity where something comes up that mutually happens, and if it doesn't, then
you might not have mutual interest with this hot guy.
And you don't need everything in common with somebody, but you also shouldn't pretend to like shit that you don't like. So if like this guy has, my friends always make fun of me. I hate cats. So if a guy who I'm like, oh, like he's super attractive or whatever, and I see his post is riddled with cats, that he owns a cat, I will not be like, oh my God, your cat is so cute. I love cats when I hate cats. I wouldn't do that. Like, you have to actually be interested. Or like, if guys see that I post jujitsu, they're like, oh, that's super cool. Like that's awesome that you train. I'm like, oh, do you train? They're like, no, but I always wanted to. And then like they can kind of get into that conversation. Don't pretend that like you know how to do something that the person's doing, because then it's very blatant. I went on a date. And
it's fucking fake.
Right.
It's false.
I went on a date years ago with this one guy, and I always remember it because he embarrassed the fuck out of himself. He was the only person that I ever like that approached me in a gym, because I don't go out with people in the gym for whatever reason. I just like am very tunnel vision. This guy, I had seen him. It had been months. He like shoot his shot. He shot his shot. He shot his shot?
He shot his shot?
Sure. He shot his shot.
He shooted. He shotted.
Okay, stop. He finally came up to me and asked me out. And like we texted back a little bit before our first date. And our first date, we went indoor rock climbing.
Oh.
Because he had said, he was like, well, what do you like to do? And I like to do interactive, active dates. I think that it shows a lot more on the interaction with the person and how you get along, rather than just sitting at dinner and talking about your life. So we went indoor rock climbing, and he was talking all of this shit that he was like going to be this amazing climber, because when he was in college, he did A, B, and C.
Oh dear. I see where this is going.
When we got to indoor rock climbing, he was like talking all of this shit like, oh, I bet I can like beat you up in a race. So like, okay. He couldn't make it 10 feet off the ground rock climbing. So it got to the point where like I love to bust balls and I love to talk a lot of shit. So I was ready for a date where it's like, oh, you fucking, like, you know what I mean? Just like banter back and forth. I couldn't even talk shit to him because he was so bad at it that it wasn't even fun to talk shit to.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, what? You just talked all this shit. So like, like if you're bad at something, use that as something funny. Be like, oh, like I'm probably not going to be great at this, but like, let's try it. Let's fucking go do something new. Like I'm down, but like, don't make fun of me, because then it's funny. Like you're bad at something, it's funny then. But if you're like, with your ego, I'm going to fucking climb this mountain in 2 seconds and you can't get 10 feet off the ground, it's embarrassing.
Was it a height thing? Like he was afraid of heights?
No, he physically could not pull himself up the fucking rock wall.
Was it Brandon?
He was waiting for it.
He was actually so really bad. He saw me approach the mic and he was prepared. I had to shit on him once. During the podcast. I just had to. I love you, Brandon.
But yeah, don't try to be impressive. Like own who you are, because people appreciate that so much more than you being like I'm amazing at this. This is great. I'm so good at this. And like put your ego to the side. Like just be organically yourself, because then people are way more able to grasp onto who you are. And it's so much more fun that way.
And also realize if you're not being yourself, you will not attract somebody that say is intended for you.
Right.
Somebody that you will like because you're putting on a front. You flat out fucking will attract somebody that you probably shouldn't be attracted to, or will be attracted to the real you.
Yeah.
Because you will expose the real you at one point.
Right. And when you finally do, and then you realize like you're not really getting along anymore because your true colors are out there. Yeah,
because when you went to hit on her, you didn't act like a fool because you are a fool. You tried to act fucking like the chivalrous guy, but you're a real dick.
Yeah. So just be yourself. Like there is somebody for everybody, but you just have to be confident in yourself. put your ego aside, communicate, all of these things that we keep talking about.
It's the pillars. They are the foundational pillars of every single relationship you get yourself into. Ego.
Communication.
And communication.
I was like, am I supposed to answer the other pillar?
Ego and communication.
Yeah. One more thing before we move on to your beauty tip. I know we've gone a long time again, but it's so much fun to have you here. Going off of what we were just talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've had my girlfriends say, like, I don't get it. Like, the guy that I actually want, I can't have, but the guys that I don't want, like, attach themselves to me. I'm
like flies on shit.
Right. But I'm like, okay, how are you acting with what we were just talking about? How are you acting with the guy that you like?
Mm-hmm.
Were you more like trying to hold back because you didn't want to embarrass yourself, or you didn't want to come off a sort of way? You wanted to be impressive. You wanted to be cool. Were you acting differently to try to make sure that he liked you because you like him? And the other guy that you don't really want to be with,
you don't give a fuck how you act around him because you don't want to be with him.
Right. You're yourself, so you don't really care. So that guy really, really likes you. Want to know why? Because you're normal and comfortable and yourself. So women get confused. They're like, I mean, I can get a boyfriend if I want, but I don't want any of the guys that want me. And any of the guys that I want, they don't want me back. Right? Because you're putting on an act for this guy because you're so caught up in the fact that you want him so bad that you're sitting still. You're not your boisterous self. You're not your outspoken self. You don't want to bring up something because you don't want to upset him, or you don't think he'll like it. And this guy, you don't give a shit about. So you're just like, fuck it, blah, blah, blah. Like you're so yourself. And that's why this guy likes you, because he's getting these confident, comfortable vibes off of you.
And true.
And that's who you are. And that's why these guys like you. And that's why this guy's like, meh, because he knows that he doesn't have to put any more work. He knows that he doesn't have to go above and beyond for you, because he knows he has you, because you're this timid version of yourself and you're not willing to expose yourself. One, because you don't want to get hurt, but two, also because you're trying to be what he wants rather than just being yourself. And maybe that guy actually would really fucking want you if you were yourself. So just be yourself. Don't worry about if that person's going to like you or not, because probably if you're yourself and he feels that you're confident, everybody loves confidence because they don't have to take care of somebody that's confident. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, that woman's confident. Like, I'm not going to have to deal with her insecurities or her being like this or this, because like she's herself and she owns herself and she loves herself. Again, everyone's going to be insecure at some times, but if you're constantly looking for that affirmation, you're going to be constantly bothering somebody. And that's why people don't want to get that negative vibe. They don't want to have to constantly affirm how they feel about you. But if you're just yourself, people are more magnetized to you when you're just like, okay. So act the way you would act if you don't give a fuck about somebody, to the same way if you actually care if that person likes you. That was my last bit on it. What do you have to say?
If you're a guy or a girl, don't try to impress. Just be yourself.
It's terrible.
I know you just said be yourself the whole time. If you're not financially sound at this moment, it's okay. We all go through life situations. Don't try to put on a front and act like you're so financially wealthy. That's one example that I see, you know, that I know about. That often happens with men. They want to put on this front like they're so financially stable. Dude, I'm not financially stable one fucking bit right now. And that's fine. And I will attract a female because I like women, contrary to belief somehow. And I will completely and openly admit who I am and be myself. Yeah.
And the more open
Don't
you
impress.
are with...
Don't impress.
It's so annoying. Just like I was saying earlier when we were talking about intimacy and like when somebody tells you what they like, don't overboard do it and be like, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this? Stop trying to be impressive. Don't be impressive. Just genuinely care about what you're doing and like be present in what you're doing. And then people will like that part. Same thing with what you're saying. If you're trying to be impressive, it's such a turnoff. Like, just relax. Like how women, again, we were just talking about women changing or just like holding back because they want to be impressive and they want to look cool and they want to be like, oh, I definitely want this girl. She's super chill. She doesn't care about anything. If you care about shit, voice that shit. And if that person doesn't like it, they're not for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're so afraid of being alone and wanting to be with certain people because the idea of having them that we're willing to hold back or we're willing to change for this shit, but we shouldn't, because that's where we're missing out on. Same thing with guys. Stop trying to be impressive. I literally don't care if you make more money than the guy next to you. If you can fulfill me, like emotionally, spiritually, like all of these things, that's enough, because we can build together. I can support you in doing this as long as we have each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the money. I don't care about this. And I know it's like, well, you can't really say that because whatever. No, you can. Stop trying to be impressive. You're just annoying. And you're missing out on so many people who would appreciate you. Stop it. All right, Rue, beauty tip.
Does Courtney do anything before she gives a beauty tip?
She doesn't do anything like this with her hands.
With her hands?
No. She just says what her beauty tip is.
Oh. Should I do one men and women? Or both? Or two? What?
You could do one for each.
Men. I'm a man, so I'm going to do it for men. Men, do not be afraid to be comfortable in your own skin. And what I mean by that, and you know, I know I just prefaced it by saying, for some reason, everybody thinks I'm gay. It's like a conversation.
Everybody thinks I'm a lesbian.
Really?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks we're both gay. I know I'm super fucking feminine 98% of the time. I grew up with two sisters. I'm a mama's boy. That's just how I am. I'm not gay. Not a problem if I was. You are not a lesbian. I don't know why everyone thinks you're a lesbian. I never questioned if you were a lesbian or not.
Moving on. Don't know where we just went.
Yeah, sorry. You can get your fucking nails done. You can take care of yourself. You can get your eyebrows done. You can get your nose hairs trimmed. You could get your ear hairs trimmed. You can get a manicure and pedicure. You can go to the spa. That does not, I guess, demasculinize you. So basically my tip is take care of yourself, right? Like, put fucking baby powder in your underwear if you're chafing. Put some fucking foot powder in your shoes if your fucking feet smell like shit. Get your nails done. Get your fucking cuticles done. Take care of your eyebrows. Keep your beard trimmed. Like, not saying you have to be so fucking prim and pretty and you have to look your best all the time, because I let my beard go sometimes. I get some, what is this called? Scruff. Yeah. I get scruffy, right? But like, take care of yourself, because that is attractive to women, and you should want to take fucking care of yourself. And you're, I know I'm ranting here.
It's okay.
But beauty tip.
So with that, I want to just say that, because I know a lot of men, when they hear like, oh, get your nails and your toes done, they actually think that they get painted. You as a man,
I always get a clear coat though.
Okay. But
you can deny it. They ask you. They ask you if you want the clear coat. You can say no.
So Rue gets his clear coat, which is fine. It just makes your nails a little shinier. And
protects your nails.
Okay. As a man, you do not have to get a color. What happens is like, if you get a pedicure done, it's not like you're getting your nails painted. They literally like fucking scrape the calluses off of it.
Oh, it is
fix everything around. You get like a lower leg massage and a foot massage. So when you think about getting a mani and a pedi as a man, I know a lot of men are like, I don't want to get my nails painted. You don't get your nails painted. You literally just get everything kind of worked on.
That would solely, I know I went in circles. That would solely be my beauty tip for men. Go out this weekend, get yourself a manicure. Or just a pedi for your feet.
Pedicures.
Get a mani-pedi. You get a calf massage. They rub the bottom of your foot. When you're getting your nails done, the lady massages your back. Like,
yeah.
It is tremendous. Go get a mani-pedi. That's my beauty tip. It'll change your life.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun.
Did you?
It's been a while since I was able to like speak on camera. You know, we had the No Windy Sleeves podcast for a while. It's still active, but it's not as active as Beauty Gains and the Man Card podcast. Right. But this was so much fun.
It was so much fun. I can't wait to hear it. Hopefully you guys got a lot of insight on both sides. I know we kind of went on tangents or back and forth, but thank you for being patient with us. We're hoping Courtney will be back soon. Prayers go out to the family.
I love you, Courtney.
Love you. But again, thank you to our sponsors. See, this is the thing, is Courtney usually says the sponsors. Glow Commando, No Indie Sleeves, FT Performance Labs. No, I said No Indie Sleeves already.
Fast Twitch?
No, but
shout out to Fast Twitch.
Shout out to Fast Twitch. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Love you so much. Love is love.
I love XOXO Gossip Roo.
My God. Bye.